Dear friends, welcome to Learning About. In this video, I'm going to discuss in detail the answers to one of the latest papers, general awareness questions asked in the SNC examinations. So as far as the Staff Selection Commission examinations are concerned, almost in all papers, all exams, you have general intelligence and general awareness. Okay, and the level of the questions, if you see, general awareness is common to all the different exams, whether it is SSC GD or SSC JE or MTS or CHS or CGL, okay, or even the phase 9 exams that is going to be held in Jan 2022. So all this will have general awareness and almost at the same level. Okay, then so as far as our channel is concerned, we have videos related to general intelligence, quantitative aptitude and general awareness. So all the relevant videos are given in the description below. You can make use of it. And as far as English language is concerned, the questions are available in our the testing platform, the test practice platform, app.learningabout.in. The link to that platform is also given in the description below. You can make use of it. So usually they have about like 1/4 negative mark is there. Okay, so 0.25 negative mark for each questions. So general awareness, this is the syllabus that is given. You can pause the video to look at the details. And as far as the split up of questions, okay, so there is no fixed split up of questions. Okay, sometimes you get like many questions in one area, sometimes you don't get questions at all. That is how it is. But in general, okay, if you look at different sets of paper from different exams, okay, this is kind of, you can say this is the kind of split up that you can expect. Okay, and it can be like plus or minus 1 is possible. And one more issue with as far as the general awareness is concerned. Now what I may look at it as a current event question, you may look at it as a question based on personality or sports. Okay, so that kind of it is very difficult to clearly identify a question belongs to which topic. That also becomes little difficult here. Okay, but anyhow, I've just tried to categorize it and I've given it here. You can make use of that. Now the first question: who among the following is the first Indian pistol shooter to reach number 1 in world rankings by the ISSF, that is International Shooting Sport Federation? Now the answer, so if you look at answer choice 4, Suma Shirur from Karnataka is a former champion. Okay, so former athlete, not the answer. Tejaswini Sawant, the rank is somewhere around 33. Now Kajal Saini from Haryana, the rank is somewhere around 53. The answer for this question is Hina Sidhu. So Hina Sidhu became the first Indian pistol shooter to win a gold medal in a ISSF World Cup finals, and she won the 10-meter air pistol event. And in 2014, Sidhu was the world record holder in the 10-meter air pistol event with the final score of 203.8, and she is a right-handed and a right eye dominant shooter. So answer is answer option 1, Hina Sidhu. The second question: who among the following has become the first women umpire to officiate in a men's test match in January 2021? Now the answer is Claire Antonia Polasok. Now she is an Australian cricket umpire. Now she is actually a school teacher by profession, interestingly, and in June 2017 she was one of the 4 female umpires named by the ICC to stand in the 2017 World Cups, women cricket World Cup qualifier. Okay, then she was umpiring for men's domestic fixture and then for practice matches and so on, and eventually in Jan 2021 she was becoming the she was the umpire for a men's test match. So answer is option 4, Claire Polasek, Claire Antonia Polasek is the answer. Now the third question: which part of soil has organic materials incorporated with the mineral matter, nutrition and water? Now, so if you look at now we call this as the soil profile. Okay, so what you see here, the different horizons, you see 5 horizons here. Okay, they call it as the soil profile. Now you have the R horizon, C horizon, B horizon, A horizon and O horizon. Now C horizon is composed of loose parent material. Now this layer is the first stage in the soil formation process, and eventually forms the above two layers. Okay. Now horizon B is the transition zone between horizon A and horizon C, and contains matter derived from below as well as from above. It has some organic matter in it, although the mineral matter is noticeably weathered. Okay, so answer for this question is answer option A, answer option 3. Answer option 3, horizon A is the answer for this. So horizon A is the topmost zone where organic materials have got incorporated with the mineral matter, nutrients and water which are necessary for the growth of plants. Okay, so this is the horizon A. This is the answer for this question. Now the fourth question, it's a very easy question to guess. Now, in which of the following states is the Sabarimala Sri Dharmasastha temple located? So it's one of the very famous temples in India, and one of probably the top 2 or 3 in the southern part of the country. Okay, so more people, okay, so more devotees visit this temple, especially during the month of December and all that. So it is a huge a tradition where people go on fasting for 40 days and then they visit. So it is actually on a hilltop. Okay, so and it is actually estimated that about 50 lakh people visit Sabarimala every year, and the hill it's almost 1250 meters above sea level. Okay, so it is in the Pathanamthitta district of Kerala, and of course for other reasons. Okay, so regarding a court verdict and all that, so Sabarimala a few years back, maybe a couple of years back, was also in the news for reasons related to that. So that is also relevant towards the preparation of exam. Now question number 5, identify the Indian state which was known as Pragjyotisha during the epic period. Okay, so answer for this question, yes, it is Assam. Okay, see, Prag means former or eastern, and Jyotisha is a star. Okay, so Jyotish, okay, so in the ancient name, so Pragjyotishpur means a city of eastern astrology. Okay, now in ancient Sanskrit, okay, so in literature both names Pragjyotisha and Kamrupa, okay, were used, okay, for ancient Assam. Okay, so Pragjyotisha and Kamrupa were both used in the ancient for denoting the ancient Assam. Both the names were used. Okay, so answer for this question is Assam. So Assam, as you know, it is a state with almost 3 crore population, and so Assam covers an area of 78,000, approximately 78,000 kilometer square. That is the area of Assam. You can look at the map of Assam here. So it is surrounded by Tripura, Mizoram, Manipur, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Arunachal Pradesh, and West Bengal. So answer for this question is answer option 1, Assam. Now the next question, what is the SI unit of measuring pressure? Okay, so this is again a very common question that we have learnt in our school days. So what is pressure? Pressure, if you look at the definition, it is the amount of force applied perpendicular to the surface of an object per unit area, and the SI unit is Pascal. Okay, the SI unit is Pascal, named after the French mathematician, physicist, inventor, philosopher, writer, and Catholic theologian Blaise Pascal. And so, as you know, he is very famous for his probability theory, Pascal's Wager, Pascal's triangle, Pascal's law, Pascal's theorem, and Pascal's calculator. Okay, so he is a very popular scientist, you can say, or so he's a, as I said, French mathematician, physicist, inventor, philosopher, writer, and Catholic theologian. Answer for sixth question is answer option 1, Pascal. Now the seventh question, who among the following was appointed by the All India Football Federation as its first Deputy General Secretary in January 2021? The answer is answer option 1, Abhishek Yadav. Okay, so the Praful Patel is the president, I think. So the answer Deputy General Secretary is Abhishek Yadav. So All India Football Federation is simply known as AIFF, is the governing body of football in India under jurisdiction of Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India. And in fact, actually it was formed as early as 1937. And as for Abhishek Yadav, so he's an Indian retired professional footballer who played as a striker. And so Yadav was in the national squad since 2002. Now he is retired. So answer for question number 7 is Abhishek Yadav. Kabartal wetland was designated as a Ramsar site in 2020. In which of the following states is it located? Okay, so there are at least a couple of more possible general awareness questions. Okay, so first, what is a wetland? Then what is a Ramsar site? Okay, like how many Ramsar sites are there? All these are possible questions. Okay, now, so a wetland, okay, now wetland are areas where water covers the soil or is present either at or near the surface of the soil all year, okay, or for varying periods of time during the year, including the growing season. Okay, so water saturation largely depends on how the soil develops and types of plants and animal communities living in and on the soil. Okay, so wetlands may support both aquatic and terrestrial species. Okay, so wetland is a very important part in maintaining the ecological balance. Okay, now there comes Ramsar site. Okay, so Ramsar site is a convention on wetlands. It is an intergovernmental treaty that provides the framework for national action and international cooperation for the conservation and wise use of wetlands and their resources. Okay, so in India, if you see, there are 39. Okay, so 39 Ramsar sites. The famous ones include Silica Lake in Odisha, okay, Keoladio National Park in Rajasthan, Harike Lake in Punjab, okay, Loktak Lake in Manipur. So all these are like famous Ramsar sites. Now the answer for this question is Bihar. Okay, now this Kabartal wetland is also known as Kanvir Jheel, covers 2620 hectares of the Indo-Gangetic plain in the northern Bihar state. Okay, this site is one of the 18 wetlands with an extensive floodplain complex. It floods during the monsoon season to the depth of 1.5 meters. So Ramsar sites, number of Ramsar sites 39. Okay, and so it is a convention of wetlands. Okay, and Kabartal wetland is in Bihar. Now question number 9, dash or gently sloping areas of the ocean basis. Now this is a repeated question. Okay, so the answer is deep sea plains. Okay, now deep sea plains are also called as, you know, like the abyssal. Okay, so abyssal plain. Now it is an underwater plain on the deep ocean floor, usually found at depths between 3000 meters. Okay, that is about 9,800 feet. So it is between 3000 to 6000 feet, 6000 meters. So lying generally between the foot of the continental rise and mid-ocean ridge. Abyssal plains cover more than 50% of Earth's surface, and they are among the flattest, smoothest and least explored regions of the Earth. Abyssal plains are key geological elements of oceanic basins. Okay, so that's a very important one. The answer is answer option 1, deep sea plains, which is also known as the abyssal plain. Now 10th question, who among the following was appointed as the Chief Justice of the Andhra Pradesh High Court in January 2021? Okay, so before, you know, like so the answer is Arup Kumar Goswami. Okay, so he was now actually presently he is the Chief Justice of Chhattisgarh High Court. He was formerly the Chief Justice of Andhra Pradesh High Court, and then before that he was also the Chief Justice of Sikkim High Court. Now, actually, another question that you need to know with respect to the general awareness point of view is that the appointment of the High Court judges. See, as per the Article 217 of the Constitution, it states that judge of a High Court shall be appointed by the President in consultation with the Chief Justice of India, the governor and the governor of a state. Okay. Now, in case of an appointment of a judge other than the Chief Justice, okay, the Chief Justice of the High Court is also consulted. Okay. Now, this is according to the Constitution. Okay. Now, if you look at the reality, okay, so what we have here is the collegium, system, okay, where High Court judges are recommended by a collegium comprising of CJI and two senior most judges. Okay, so what happens is that, so the proposal is initiated by the Chief Justice of the High Court to consult, and in consultation with two senior most colleagues, the recommendation is sent to the Chief Minister, and who advises the Governor to send the proposal to the Union Law Minister, and the Chief Justice of High Court is appointed as per the policy having Chief Justices from outside the respective states. Okay, and the collegium takes the call on the elevation and so on. Okay, so recently also there have been some controversies, so some people, some judges, they have even quit because of they are not happy with the announcement and so on. But again, a general awareness point of view, it's a very important thing to know that, okay, how the High Court judges are selected. So the answer for this question is Arup Kumar Goswami. Question number 11: Who among the following nationals who among the following Indian nationals got the Legion of Merit Award 2020 from the US government? Okay, so this, all of us know, the very popular person in India right now. So the answer is the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So Legion of Merit is a military award of the United States Armed Forces that is given to exceptionally meritorious conduct in the performance of outstanding services and achievements. The decoration is issued to members of the 8 uniformed services of the United States, as well as to the military and political figures of foreign governments. Okay, so many Indians have also received this award before. Okay. Now, question number 12: Who among the following became the first Lokpal of India? Now, first of all, a Lokpal. Okay, so Lokpal means defender of people or people's friend. Okay, now Lokpal is an anti-corruption authority or body of ombudsman who represents the public interest of the Republic of India. Now, we have so this is for the central government, okay, for the throughout the country. Likewise, state wise we have the Lok Ayukta. Okay, so Lok Ayukta for again, these are all like exam point of view very important. Okay, Lok Ayukta for the state level and Lokpal for the central for the whole of the Indian in whole of the country. Okay, so the current chairperson of Lokpal is Pinaki Chandra Ghosh. Okay, so that's the answer for this question. The Lokpal has jurisdiction over central government to inquire into allegations of corruption against its public functionaries and for matters connected to corruption. The Lokpal and Lok Ayukta Act was passed in 2013 with amendments in the Parliament following the Jan Lokpal movement. Okay. Now, question number 13: In which of the following states the Land Grabbing Act 2020 came into force in December 2020? So different states have this law in different forms. Okay. But in December 2020, okay, so this was enacted by the Gujarat government by the then Chief Minister Vijay Rupani. So the Gujarat Land Grabbing Prohibition Act 2020, okay, now this law seeks to protect small farmers and citizens against land grabbing through establishment of committees and special courts in each district. It has provision of 14 years of imprisonment. Okay, so that is a jail term for land grabbers. Persons illegally taking possession of land both directly and indirectly will be considered land grabbers under this law. Okay, so answer is answer option 3, Gujarat. Now, question number 14: What happens to Indian exports when the Indian rupee is devalued? Okay, so again, this is a predictable answer. When Indian rupees is first of all, we have the word devalued here. Okay, so a devaluation is an official lowering of the value of country's currency within a fixed exchange rate system, in which a monetary authority, okay, formally sets a lower exchange rate of the national currency in relation to the foreign reference currency or currency basket. Now, devaluation, what it does is it makes the exports cheaper and imports expensive, which results in a sharp, increase in prices, and sometimes this leads to inflation as well. Now, as far as in our country is concerned, I think we have done this devaluation at different points of time, okay. So in the 60s, okay, in the 90s, okay, so there have been multiple points where the devaluation of Indian currency has happened. So answer for this question is the exports become cheaper, okay. So when devaluation happens, exports become cheaper and imports are expensive, and often it leads to sharp increase in prices, leading to inflation. Now question number 14, dash is the process of turning on computer and powering up the system. See, of course, we know it is not saving, okay. So saving is you have done something, okay, you are saving the file, that is saving, and execution is like running, okay. So if you're writing a program, now you want to run the program to get the results, okay, that is execution. So these two words, okay, I think will not have any confusion. Probably we may have a confusion between booting and loading. See, loading refers to beginning or it is sometimes similar to executing a program, okay. Now why it is called as loading or loading, sometimes we also refer it as moving, right? So moving the necessary information from a drive into a computer's memory, okay, so that is loading. So from the computer drive, like the hard drive, you are moving into the computer's memory, that is why it is called as loading, okay. So loading is also not the answer, okay, the answer is booting, okay. The powering up the system is called as booting. Now booting is the process of starting a computer. It can be initiated by hardware such as button press or by software command. After it is switched on, computer central processing unit has no software in its main memory, so some process must load software into the memory before it can be executed, okay, and this may be done by hardware or firmware in the CPU or by a separate processor in the computer system, okay. So answer for this question is answer option 1, booting. The next question, what do you call a key on computer keyboard that is used to move the pointer around move the pointer around on the screen, okay. So answer is very simple, the answer is navigation key. Actually, if you look at the red part, okay, so all these are called as the navigation key. A keyboard navigation key is a keyboard key used to move the pointer around on the screen. They include the 4 arrow keys, okay. So these 4 arrow keys that you see here, these 4 arrow keys, okay, and then page up, page down, okay, page up, page down, home, end keys, okay. So these are all the navigation key. Answer option 1 is the answer for this. Now question number 17, vitamin B12 is generally not present in so the options given are like milk, plant, fish and poultry products. In fact, milk is one of the good sources of vitamin B12, and fish and poultry are also sources, okay. So answer for this is plant foods. So plant foods, okay, so they don't have, so that's why so some people like to take this as a supplement, okay. Vitamin B12 is usually taken as supplement, okay. So vitamin B12, okay, is actually the other name is cobalamin, okay. So cobalamin, it is a water soluble vitamin and it is involved in metabolism. It is one of the 8 B vitamins. It is a cofactor in the DNA synthesis in both fatty acid and as well as amino acid metabolism. It is important in the normal functioning of the nervous system and its role in the synthesis of myelin and in the maturation of red blood cells in the bone marrow, okay. And very importantly, again, see, all these informations are exam point of view very important. The most common cause of vitamin B12 deficiency in developed countries is impaired absorption due to a loss of gastric intrinsic factor, which must be bound to a food source of B12 in order to absorption to occur, okay. See, this question related on something related to vitamin. Okay, this is one of, not especially B12, but generally something related to like vitamins and all that. Okay, or deficiency of it or the lack of it. Okay, now that's one of the repeated question in these exams. Okay, and the good sources of vitamin B12 include meat, fish, milk, cheese, eggs. Okay, so answer option 2, plant foods. Vitamin B12 is generally not present. Okay, now who among the following is considered as the father of modern atomic theory? Okay, so now atomic theory is a scientific theory that matter is composed of particles called atoms. Atomic theory traces its origin to the ancient philosophical tradition known as atomism. According to this idea, if one were to take the lump of matter and cut it into several small pieces, one would eventually reach a point where the pieces could not be further cut into anything smaller. Okay, so that is the atomic theory. And so before we go on to the answer, the first option here is Robert Boyle. Now Robert Boyle was an Anglo-Irish natural philosopher, chemist, physicist and inventor. Boyle is largely regarded today as the first modern chemist and therefore one of the founders of modern chemistry, and he was also one of the pioneers of modern experimental scientific method. Okay, and he's of course best known for Boyle's law. Okay, so this is not the actually the answer. Okay, answer option 1 is ruled out. Now if you take Willard Gibbs, okay, so he was an American scientist who made significant theoretical contribution to physics, chemistry and maths, but Willard Gibbs is not the answer. Now the last option, Otto Hahn, was a German chemist and a pioneer in the field of radioactivity and radiochemistry. Hahn is referred to as the father of nuclear chemistry and godfather of nuclear fission. Okay, but that is not the answer. Now answer for this question is John Dalton. Now John Dalton is an English chemist, physicist and meteorologist. He is best known for introducing the atomic theory. Okay, and so he introduced like atomic theory into chemistry for his research into color blindness, and sometimes referred to as Daltonism in his honor. Now question number 19. Dash plains are formed due to the weathering of soluble rocks such as limestone and dolomite. Okay, so this is again a very popular one. So the answer is karst. Okay, K-A-R-S-T, karst is the answer for this. So karst is a topography formed from the dissolution of soluble rocks such as limestone, dolomite and gypsum. It is characterized by the underground drainage systems with sinkholes and caves. It has also been documented for more weathering resistant rocks such as quartzite given the right conditions. Okay, answer for this question is answer option 2, karst. Now question number 20. Which of the following state governments unveiled a braille version of the Constitution of India in January 2021? So you know, braille is a tactile writing system used by people who are visually challenged. It is traditionally written in embossed paper. Braille users can read computer screens and other electronic supports using refreshable braille displays. Now they can write braille with the original slate and stylus or type in it on braille writer such as the portable braille note maker. Okay, and braille is actually named after its creator Louis Braille, a Frenchman who lost his sight as a result of a childhood accident, and in 1824 at the age of 15 he developed a code for the French alphabet as an improvement on night writing. Okay, so he published a system which subsequently included musical notation and all that. Okay, so this is again an independent question regarding braille. It can be asked. So as far as the answer for this question is concerned, the answer is Maharashtra. So Maharashtra government like came up with the braille version of the Constitution of India. So the second image like shows you the how like a book a braille version looks like. Now 21. Which of the following cities is the corporate center of State Bank of India situated? Again, even if you do not know the answer, it is an easy guess. The answer is Mumbai. Okay, so SBI is a public sector bank and financial services okay, statutory body. It is headquarters in Mumbai, Maharashtra, okay. And SBI is one of it is the 43rd largest bank in the world, and it is also listed in the Fortune, like 500 global list. Now, question number 22: in which of the following years was the Vijayanagara Empire found? So Vijayanagara Empire, like it's one of the largest, like empires in the history of one of the largest empires in the history of India, but predominantly, like they were ruling the south of India. Okay, so they were formed in 1336. Now, what you see on this part, okay, so this part here, this is the Vijayanagara Empire. But like if you see, actually, like not all part of it they have directly ruled, because some of you might have doubts related to like Tamil Nadu and Kerala and all that, but they will not have directly ruled. Okay, so there, like the local kings, okay, so under the Vijayanagara Empire, they ruled over the other parts, like some parts of Tamil Nadu and Kerala, which was not directly ruled by the Vijayanagara king, okay, but there were like the smaller kings who ruled over the area, okay. And if you actually look at the Vijayanagara, like empire, they had like 4 different dynasties, okay. So there was a Sangama dynasty, there was a Saluva dynasty, there was a Tuluva dynasty, and there was a Aravidu dynasty, okay. And the most like famous king in the Vijayanagara is the Krishnadevaraya, and he was from the Tuluva dynasty, and he was active for about 20 years in the early 16th century. So Krishnadevaraya is one of the most popular kings in the Vijayanagara Empire. So answer for this question is answer option 4, 1336. And so they were like they lasted until 1646, okay. So they fell down, the Vijayanagara Empire fell down after or it got broken after 1646, okay. So from 1336 to 1646 was the period of Vijayanagara Empire. And question number 23: in which of the following years did Telangana become the 29th state of India? Again, very importantly, Telangana, though, is the youngest state, okay, and was the 29th state of India after the reorganization of state of Andhra Pradesh. But today you have only 28 states, okay. So 28 states and 8 union territories. And because why 28th state? Jammu and Kashmir was okay, which was once a state, is now bifurcated as 2 union territories, okay. So now only 28 states are there, and the year of formation of Telangana is 2014. So in this image, what you see in the white, okay, so that is the Telangana, okay. So Andhra Pradesh was bifurcated into Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana headquarters is Hyderabad. And so there are about like 3.5 crores population as per 2011 census, 3.5 crore population. And so if you look at the area, so it's like 1.12 lakh kilometer square is the area of Telangana. Question number 24: Kati Bihu in Assam is celebrated by lighting a lamp in front of a dash tree or plant, okay. So the answer, as you could have guessed, the answer is Tulsi, okay. So this here you see the chief minister, okay, performing, is participating in the celebration. So Bihu, okay, is a set of 3 important Assamese festival in the Indian state of Assam, okay. So Rangoli or Bohag, okay, so Rangoli or Bohag Bihu is observed in April. Kongali or Kati Bihu, okay, so Kati Bihu is also known as Kongali, that is observed in October. And Bogali or Mag Bihu is observed in January. So this Kati Bihu is observed in October, okay. So answer is Tulsi, answer option 2 for this question. Now the last question: who among the following was awarded the Rabindranath Tagore Literary Award 2020? So here Ashraf Patel. Okay, so the option, if you see, Ashraf Patel, okay, is he also won an award, but he was named the social entrepreneur of the year. And Ranjit Singh Disal is an Indian teacher from Maharashtra. He won the $1 million annual global teacher prize 2020. Okay, and Vidyut Mohan, so probably many of you would have heard this name. Vidyut Mohan is a co-founder and CEO of Takachar, a social enterprise enabling the farmers to prevent open burning of their waste from farm residues. And okay, so he was into creating extra income by converting the residues into value added chemicals like activated carbon on site and all that. Okay, so he's more into the ecology and all that. So he also won many awards, Vidyut Mohan. So but none of them are directly related to literature. Okay, so answer for this question is Rajkamal Jha. Rajkamal Jha is actually a journalist. Okay, so he's a journalist and he's a chief editor of the New Indian Express, and he won the award for the book The City and the Sea, which is loosely based on the 2012 like Nirbhaya incident in Delhi. So and this Rabindranath Tagore literary prize or literary award is a literary honor in India conferred annually to a published work of Indian authors residing in India or abroad in novel, short stories, poetry and drama, originally written in any of Indian official languages and dialects but translated into English. So it was like actually founded in 2018 only by US based independent and non-profit publishing house Maitreya Publishing Foundation. Okay, so that's about it. So I hope this video was useful towards the preparation of Staff Selection Commission. Now if you have any questions or doubts, please post your questions in the comment section below. We'll be very happy to answer your questions. And for more videos on exam preparation and job alerts, please subscribe to our channel Learning About. And thanks for watching the video. Have a great day.